The Texans on the road this weekend to take on the Green Bay Packers, trying to extend their win streak, and this will be one of the toughest opponents they've had to date. DeMeco Ryans said Jordan Love's the best quarterback that they've played so far this season. Matt LaFleur is a fantastic coach, and the Texans a little banged up on defense and missing a key defender in some of their success from the previous weeks. Let's start on the defensive line here and talk about who's missing and who's coming back and maybe making their debut to help out with the absence along the defensive line. So Mario Edwards is suspended for the next 4 games because he violated the league's substances of abuse policy. The Texans are getting 2 defensive tackles back, though. Denico Autry is set to make his debut after he gets off of his suspension for performance-enhancing violations. And Kurt Heinisch is making his debut after being injured in the preseason and spending some time on injured reserve. So 1 defensive tackle out, and then 1 defensive lineman in with Autry and 1 defensive tackle in with Kurt Heinisch. So Edwards leaving, that one's tough. He had a fantastic game last week. He's number 2 in tackles along the defensive line, and this is a veteran that the Texans trusted basically from the word go here this season to be a starter at defensive tackle. Now, they've still got Foley Fatukasi and Tim Settle, who've done a pretty darn good job in that defensive tackle rotation. Khalil Davis is an option as well, but they're going to add Kurt Heinisch to the defensive tackle equation as well. Heinisch was injured in the preseason, started the year on injured reserve, but he's back. So they've got a bevy of options to fill in for Mario Edwards while he's gone. They're also going to have the option to throw Denico Autry in there. Autry was one of the big signings in free agency for this Texans team. They spent $10 million on him. He had 11.5 sacks last season, and there were high expectations for what Autry was going to do this year for the Texans. I mean, the way Nick Caserio talks about him, the way DeMeco Ryans talked about him, the way Will Anderson talked about Autry, I was excited to see him play, and then boom, the performance-enhancing drug policy violation gets him. He misses 6 games, but he is ready to return, going to hit the practice field this week. And I say defensive lineman when I say Denico Autry and not defensive tackle or defensive end, because he can do a little bit of everything. Now, over the past 3 seasons, he hasn't played a ton along the defensive tackle spots for the Tennessee Titans when he was in Tennessee previously. But Mario Edwards didn't play a ton at defensive tackle before the Texans slid him down in there. So Autry can play a little bit on the end, backing up Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter. He can play on the interior on some pass rush downs. It's just a bevy of options to replace one guy at the defensive tackle spot. This is one of the positions where I'm a little calm. I can breathe easy with the depth here that the Texans have. The next 2 positions, it's a little dicey. And if your air conditioner has been a little dicey, not quite running like it should, or you feel like that AC bill is too high, sometimes your air conditioner is working too hard. You know how you can fix that? Call Platinum AC and Heating. Year-round preventative maintenance always has your AC running well and always has your AC operating at max capacity. Whether it's hot outside or cold outside, your AC needs to be running its best, or it's going to cost you money. Year-round preventative maintenance will fix that, and you get a special price on year-round preventative maintenance when you call Platinum AC and Heating today. Give my guy Dwyane a call. 832-777-3683 is the number. So if your AC is dicey, call Platinum AC and Heating. It's dicey at the linebacker spot here for the Houston Texans. They have played primarily 2 linebackers all year long. Azeez Al-Shaair and Henry To'oTo'o, well, question marks abound about those 2 players. Azeez Al-Shaair is questionable for this week right now as he's coming back from a knee injury. Now, he got hurt in the game and then came back into the game, but ultimately Neville Hewitt played a lot of his snaps. And then Henry To'oTo'o with his concussion is certainly a player that you have to pay attention to. Their backups are Neville Hewitt and Jake Hansen, who haven't played a ton of linebacker this year so far. Now, Neville Hewitt got ready just in case Azeez Al-Shaair couldn't play against the Buffalo Bills, but Al-Shaair played, and they didn't need Neville Hewitt. But then Hewitt got in there a little bit last week on the road against the New England Patriots, and there were some positives there. But 2 brand new linebackers for the Houston Texans. Man, you'd really love to see Azeez Al-Shaair be able to go in this one, especially with a really tough running back like Josh Jacobs on the other side. You'd love to see Al-Shaair go. Henry To'oTo'o with the concussion. He missed a couple of games last year with a concussion. And man, concussions at the linebacker spot, it just seems so difficult to come back in a week. So it seems like at the very least, the Texans should be headed to 1 backup linebacker, but 2 backup linebackers, man, that would be a tough situation. And they may even need to play more than just the 2 backup linebackers because those guys aren't used to playing all those snaps, and they've got to help out a little bit on special teams as well. Now, obviously, I mentioned Neville Hewitt and Jake Hansen. Those would be the 2 guys that get the opportunity if Azeez Al-Shaair and Henry To'oTo'o can't go. And they had some pretty impressive moments in the preseason. I thought Hansen had a really nice preseason, and Neville Hewitt looked good as well. Now, primarily that came against backups, second-string players. But, hey, they took advantage of their opportunities and found themselves where they are on the depth chart. A couple of more backup names, Delshawn Phillips and Jamal Hill, the rookie out of Oregon. Maybe they could get mixed in as well if you need them, but no Al-Shaair, who calls the defense with the green dot on the helmet. No Henry To'oTo'o, who has played fantastic so far this season, especially when you think about where he was last year and what he is now. That would be not fun to have to deal with against this Green Bay Packers team, Josh Jacobs, and some of their short passing game that they get over the middle as well. A little bit more worried, like, you know, if I was on a scale of 1 to 7, if I was like a 2 with the defensive tackles because they've got plenty of options there, I'm at about a 5 with the linebackers. And the position that I'm at about a 6.5 with, nearly a 7, is the other cornerback spot opposite Derek Stingley. Kamari Lassiter's shoulder injury could be lingering, and if he misses another game, it's going to be D'Angelo Ross and company at that other cornerback spot. Now, last week, the New England Patriots, with rookie quarterback Drake May, decided not to challenge D'Angelo Ross too terribly much, and that was a mistake. D'Angelo Ross is a career backup to this point. He got the start last week, but he's a career backup, and he's a career backup for a reason. He's not as good as Kamari Lassiter, Derek Stingley, even Jeff Okudah. If Okudah was healthy, he'd be the guy starting opposite Derek Stingley. But D'Angelo Ross not attacked by Drake May and the coaching staff in New England. D'Angelo Ross will be attacked by Matt LaFleur, Jordan Love, and their bevy of wide receivers. You think about Jaden Reed, Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, maybe Dontavian Wicks, although he seems like he's hurt and he may not play this week. There's a lot of different options. It's not like there's just one good wide receiver on the Green Bay Packers. There will always be somebody who is an advantage for the Packers when D'Angelo Ross lines up against them at the cornerback spot. So you've got to be a little nervous. Even though the Patriots didn't attack D'Angelo Ross last week and it wasn't an issue last week, the Green Bay Packers will not make that mistake against the Houston Texans in this matchup. So defensive tackle, you got plenty of options. You've got plenty of options, plenty of guys to fill in. Linebacker, you got some options. Not great. You hope that Azeez Al-Shaair can play, but if Kamari Lassiter can't go, man, that is a big disadvantage for the Houston Texans. You're talking about adding a little help over the top to D'Angelo Ross, which alters the way that you play defense on the back end with your safeties. And that could be a Achilles heel on this Texans defense come Sunday if Kamari Lassiter can't go. But hey, injuries happen all the time in the National Football League. You got to be able to account for it. And I know DeMeco Ryans loves that next man up. That's who gets in there. I don't have to feel confident about him in this matchup. Are you confident with these backups that will be playing this weekend if the starters can't go? We know the backups, well, the rotation will be active for the defensive tackles. No Mario Edwards. I'd say gut feeling today, Azeez Al-Shaair is a maybe, Henry To'oTo'o is a no, and Kamari Lassiter is a no as well. So it could be backup central in the back 7 for the Houston Texans. 3 key spots there, 2 linebacker spots and starting cornerback. What's your confidence level in those guys? Let me know in the comment section down below. On your way down there, throw me a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Don't forget to visit our friends at Platinum AC and Heating. Get your exclusive viewer price on year-round preventative maintenance from my guy Dwyane at Platinum AC and Heating. Give him a call today, 832-777-3683, 832-777-3683. Put it in your phone. When you need an AC guy, you need the AC guy. Don't forget to sign up for Prize Picks, too. We hit a 5-time entry last week. We'll put an entry together for this Texans and Packers matchup later in the week, but sign up at Prize Picks, the best and easiest way to play daily fantasy. You're going to play your first $5, and you're going to get $50 instantly added to your account with my code Stoots, S-T-O-O-T-S, S-T-O-O-T-S. And look, as I showed it there on the screen a second ago, we hit big last week. I'm planning to hit big again this week as well. If you'd played your first 5 last week with the code Stoots, you'd have got 50 and you'd have won 25. How great would that have been to start your Prize Picks career? All right. So easy. It's so fun. Couple of taps. You can put your entry together. They got all different sorts of sports. I know hockey's started up. You got basketball right around the corner. You can do everything with Prize Picks. Check them out. The link in the description down below. Use the code Stoots, S-T-O-O-T-S, when you sign up. Don't forget SNL. You've been seeing the banner logos for that. 9 a.m. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and then, of course, 4 p.m. Friday and 8 a.m. Monday for Reaction Monday. Don't miss that as well. You got it all? There'll be a test later, okay? There'll also be a test on all these backups, so be ready for that. We'll give you a pop quiz. Didn't you love that in school? Appreciate you watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I can't wait until we talk Texans again soon.